this. So yesterday I had general pathology. Yeah. General pathology, physiology and histology, comparative anatomy, and CCC. So we're going to start off with general pathology. Okay. So that day yesterday we talked about cellular adaptations and injury. So if a cat had a chronic lesion on its face and we aspirated it, which means we stick a needle in it and draw up some fluid and look under a microscope at the fluid, that is cytology. Cytology, because we're looking at the cells. Cyto means cell. Now, if we biopsy the lesion, then that's histopathology. You're cutting the lesion out and sending that tissue, right? Histology is the study of tissues. Histopathology is study of tissue diseases, probably. The pathology report diagnoses it as severe chronic regionally extensive granulomatous dermatitis with intralesional protozoa, consistent with Leishmania species. And it's cutaneous leishmaniasis. The first one was a morphologic diagnosis, and the second one was an etiologic diagnosis. Why? Because the first one had to do with the process, and the second one had to do with the cause. The cause is cutaneous leishmaniasis, and the process was severe chronic regionally extensive granulomatous dermatitis with intralesional protozoa, consistent with Leishmania species. All right. And if you went hiking, came home with a bullseye lesion, it's pathognomonic for Lyme disease. Pathognomonic, again, means you're 99.99999% sure that that lesion means that disease, right? So if you've got a bullseye lesion, which I'll just show you what it means, or show you what it looks like right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It literally looks like a bullseye. That's okay. How you guys doing? It's good to see you all. Addison Chimino and Official Katse, Zhang Yunche. I hope I said your name right. If not, you can correct me. That's okay. I'm busy too, my friend. So anyway, then we have more. We have cellular adaptations, causes of cell injury, mechanisms of cell injury, and we're going to start with cellular adaptations here. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. What's my take on the Drewski Mega Church skit? I don't know. I've never seen it. But if it's mocking church, I mean, I get that there's definitely problems with church. Cat's eye. Oh, okay. Well, that was a lot a lot simpler than I made it, I guess. Cat's eye. But Fit Poll won, so yeah, mega churches are, I mean, well, a lot of churches nowadays are corrupt, I'll just be honest, but skits, I don't know. All I know is that God will not be mocked, and yeah. Okay. What is grifting? I'm not sure what grifting is. I've never heard that term before. Hey, Sparkles, how are you doing? So anyway, cellular adaptations. I gotta get moving here while I talk to you guys. Um, Differences between hyperplasia, hypertrophy, atrophy, metaplasia, and dysplasia. Some examples. Some examples of cell injury. Thank you very much. Thank you. First time streaming, not quite. I've done a couple of these, but I'm not trying to make them super elaborate, and I'm definitely not trying to be like some streams that I've seen where they're like, guys, we need one more super chat. Oh my goodness, guys, please tap. You know, I don't really want to be doing that because that's just annoying to me. But I just want to be genuine. I want to be a real person. And yeah. You're in a global K-pop group that has debuted in HYBE with 5 other members: Manon, Sophia, Laura, Daniela, and Megan. You're the 6th member. That's cool. Yunche, hope I said that right. What is HYBE? I'm not familiar with that. Jeong. That's really cool. But yeah, like I get that it's hard to stick with someone as monotone as me. Hey Ronald, how you doing? Yeah, in Korea we put our I've noticed that. It's very interesting. Very cool. What up, Doc? Hey, Ronald. I'm not a doctor yet, but I appreciate it. Yeah. But yeah, like I'm very monotone, and so I get that what they do keeps people's attention, but it just almost feels like bait to me. Like they're man, I saw this one guy that was like, I'm gonna draw this key, but first I need you guys to click the 2026 sticker or whatever. Give me a gift, 2026 gift. And he said, I'm gonna lift the key in 5, 4, 3, and he counted down, and then he just segues back without lifting the key into give me a gift. And he kept doing that over and over and over. And it's literally rage bait. It's not, I don't know. But anyway. Thank you, Ronald. Unreleased song is called Flashing Lights. Okay. Hey, Felix. How are you doing? Okay. I'm going to try and get into this a little bit here. So cells, obviously they got a nucleus, nucleolus, rough endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, mitochondrion, and mitochondria, peroxisomes, lysosomes, vacuoles, centrosomes. A lot of these we don't really need to know, but that's just the general anatomy of an animal cell. and the changes in injury to tissues and organs begin at the cellular level. Okay, so again, we're going to talk about hypertrophy, hyperplasia, atrophy, metaplasia, and dysplasia. So has anyone heard of those terms before? You may have heard of hypertrophy before. Hypertrophy in the case of like going to the gym, growing your muscles, that is hypertrophy. There's many other kinds of hypertrophy, like I'd need to look at the word again. I don't know it off the top of my head, but cardio. Let me look at it real quick. Cardiac hypertrophy, like in the case of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. That's what it is. Thank you, Cat's Eye. Thank you, Cat's Eye. I appreciate your kind words. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Anyway, and some other... Okay, we're going to talk about what these mean. So hyperplasia is the increase in the number of cells. Hypertrophy is the increase in size of cells. Atrophy is the decrease in the number or size of cells. Metaplasia is the change from one mature differentiated cell type to another cell type. So it changes function, basically. And then dysplasia is abnormal tissue formation. One example of that is neoplasia, which is cancer. Yeah. But no, it's okay. You can, if you can only stay if you want to. You don't have to. I appreciate everyone who sticks in. Mainly, I'm just doing this to teach and to review for myself. So anyone who wants to learn or just, I don't know, talk to me, then feel free to stay. But anyway, excuse me. So, cell adaptations in general can be reversible sometimes. They can be normal. For example, exercising your muscles, will cause muscle hypertrophy, right? So that's going to grow your muscles. Not the number of cells, but the size of the muscle. Ovarian and uterine cells will become hyperplastic during estrus and or pregnancy. What that means is they will grow. They will get bigger, those cells. And these are all normal, by the way, the thymus will also involute or atrophy during puberty. So by the time someone gets to puberty, their thymus shrinks, gets very small. Now, talking about hyperplasia, again, this is the increase in the number of cells, okay? Greek means to form. Hyper means more, basically. And plasia means to form. So forming more cells, basically. Some pathologic examples of this are epidermal hyperplasia, like a callus. You may have gotten a callus before. For example, if you work very hard with things like wood or stone, your hands will get very calloused. If you go to the gym, you grip those barbells, your hands will get calloused. It's just natural. That's just a response to that stress. Benign prostatic hyperplasia in older males is another pathologic example. That's literally where, as you get older, your prostate gland just enlarges. What about cardiac hemothorax? So cardiac means heart, hemo probably means something to do with blood, and then thorax has to do with the thoracic region. So it sounds like blood in the thorax. That doesn't sound like a very good thing, I'll tell you that much. Maybe the heart. I mean, I don't really. I'm not familiar with the term, but sounds like a bad disease. I'll tell you that. Endometrial hyperplasia in intact dogs and cats due to repeated estrogen exposure is another pathologic example of hyperplasia. Now, moving on. So epidermal hyperplasia. I'll just show you guys this picture real quick here. So that's a callus on a dog, right? I mean, it's normal in a lot of cases. That's okay. Cat's eye. I mean, it's not too big of a deal. This is you're not gonna offend anyone on here. We talk about. I mean, I'm gonna be talking about all sorts of bodily functions, poop. That's just what doctors do. I'm not a doctor yet, but anyway. So you see this callousing right here. So this is an example of gross callousing. Gross means you can see it with your eye. Like, okay, that's a callus, right? Now this is a histology. This is cells, cells under a microscope. And you can see there's this formation here. It's just wider than that part. I don't know if you guys are able to see that, but hopefully that helps a little bit. Callousing is not necessarily bad, but it can be bad if it's in the wrong place. Otherwise, it's just your body's response to protect whatever is being calloused, like your skin, your hands. Anyway. Now, benign prostatic hyperplasia is not. Hey, Slicks, how you doing? You have a question? What's your question? I'll try to answer it because I'm not a doctor yet, but all right. See you later, Cat's Eye. Thanks for tuning in. It was good to have you. I hope it goes well, man. I hope it goes well. Have a good day. What's your question, Slicks? I'll try and answer it best I can. But anyway, benign prostatic hyperplasia is where the prostate enlarges and it gets hard to pee. That's basically it. So it's benign, it's not cancerous, but it's still pathologic, which means it's still not desirable. Okay, I can help with this. I'm 14 years old. I'm 90 kilograms. 90 kilograms times 2.2. That's 198 pounds. I need to lose weight. What should I do to make myself look better? So I was in your situation when I was in high school. I was about 190 when I was 14 to 18 years old. I was getting a little, I was noticing I was getting overweight. I need to lose weight. What should I do to make myself look better? Okay. Diet, exercise, and sleep are probably the three most important things you can do for your health. All right? Sleep. Let's just start with the easiest one, sleep. Sleep until you don't feel tired anymore. So if you need to go to bed earlier, do that. If you need to wake up later, do that. But what I do is I go to bed as early as I can and then wake up as early as I can. But I mean, sometimes I just go to bed as early as I can, and then sometimes like, my goal is to wake up at like 4 a.m. But today I slept until 5 a.m. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, except I missed out on an hour of daytime, but in reality, it's not a big deal because my body needed that sleep probably. So, and it's still 5 a.m. I mean, it's still pretty early. So that's sleep. Just sleep until you're not tired anymore. That's the important part. When you're tired, go sleep. If I were you, I'd try and shift my sleep schedule from like super late, going to bed at midnight, waking up, I don't know how early you wake up, maybe 8. Try and shift it from that to going to bed at like 8 or 9 or 10 p.m. Preferably the earlier the better. When the sun goes down. Right, if you have to go to work, that's an exception, right? Obviously, you can't sleep during work. But just like, I know some people work overnights too. That I do not recommend because it's the opposite of what our circadian rhythm adapts to. Like we go to bed when it's dark and we get tired when it's dark. Melatonin is made when it's dark and we wake up when it's bright. Okay, in Australia. So Australia is a lot closer to the equator. It's probably, I mean, I'm not familiar with Australia because I've never been there, but again, just go to bed when you're tired, wake up when you're not. You know what I mean? Try to go to bed when it's dark or when it's starting to get dark, and try to wake up when the sun comes up. And you'll just wake up naturally when the sun comes up. So that's sleep. That's the third part. The second part, exercise, second easiest, because diet's the hardest part. Exercise, literally just, if you can find anything heavy to lift, you don't even need a gym membership. I have a gym membership because I just like working out with people like my girlfriend, but because it keeps me accountable, keeps me going to the gym, because I'll be honest, I don't really like, I mean, I do enjoy the benefits of the gym, but I don't like, sometimes I don't like going to the gym. But yeah, lift, and there's all sorts of compound movements you can do, and you might just have to research them yourself. Go on to ChatGPT, popular AI software, right? Just search up, say you need to work out like twice a week. Say you can only work out twice a week, or say you can work out every day in a week. Just put into ChatGPT, I can only work out twice a week, or I can work out every day in a week. What is the most optimal exercise program for me? I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. Just be specific, What I would recommend is the big 3 are deadlifts, squats, and some sort of press. I would recommend an incline press, not necessarily a bench press. It's 9:55 p.m. I need to wake up tomorrow at 5 a.m. for Christmas. I got weights and creatine for Christmas. I already have growing biceps. Good. That's good. Yeah, curls, that's another good one for biceps. So it sounds like you've got the exercise part down, but don't forget your legs. Don't skip leg day. Legs are very important. Finally, diet. This is crucial, the most crucial step to weight loss. You are never, okay, well, you are hardly, which means very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to lose weight if you eat junk. Okay, so what I eat personally is a carnivore diet, which means I don't eat plants. I don't eat carbohydrates in any significant amount. Of course, there's, some. Okay, just don't eat plants or carbs in any significant amount. For example, pork sausage. I still eat pork sausage. Maybe I shouldn't, but I mean, it tastes good. That's okay, Slicks. But sausage has spices and a little bit of sugar in it. Probably not the most optimal, but it's better than cakes and crepes and pastries and pies, right? So first thing I'd recommend is cut out soda. And then if you want to go from there, just cut out anything that has carbohydrates. And then if you want to go from there, cut out anything that's a plant. And just progress in that regard. People say, "Oh, you need fiber." No, you don't. I've gone 150 days at least, not this stint, but previously, without, like, I was doing strict carnivore, and I was perfectly fine. I'm not dead. I definitely did not get constipated. As a matter of fact, when you eat too much fat on a carnivore diet, you get diarrhea. So that's so hard. I drink so much energy drinks, and I like eating grapes. I understand. Yeah, I mean, it may be hard at first. What I would recommend, though, I mean, the energy drinks, definitely, if I were you, I'd cut those out. They've got a lot of caffeine. Caffeine's a neurotoxin. Got a lot of sugar. Sugar's sugar. It's not good. It's not really good for us. Grapes, they're a higher sugar fruit. Fruit, I wouldn't say is optimal, but it's not horrible. It's got that fiber, which again, I don't think fiber's optimal, because it's definitely not necessary. A lot of people think, oh, it scrubs your colon. No, if we needed our colon scrubbed, we'd have a colon scrubber or some sort of colon scrub. We don't need our colons scrubbed. We have peristalsis for a reason. But if you're going to eat sugar, well, I don't even want to recommend that, but because it's so detrimental to human health. But if you're going to, yeah, make sure to eat lots of fiber. That's why they recommend lots of fiber, because the standard American diet's horrible. But what I would recommend to you, man, is do a carnivore diet. You don't have to switch into it overnight. You can slowly transition into it by starting a ketogenic diet first and then going into carnivore. But yeah, if I were you, I'd stop the energy drinks. Again, you're okay, so you're going to have, first of all, you're going to have caffeine withdrawal when you start. And you're also going to have sugar withdrawal when you cut out the sugar. That's just what happens. It sucks. It's going to happen though, and so be ready for it. It's I've heard people say that it's harder to quit sugar than it is to quit cigarettes. So, like, these are very addictive things. And I mean, physiologically, it makes sense why sugar's addictive, because it gives you a lot of energy. But yeah, just start small and you got this. But I mean, you got to start. Don't just, by starting small, I don't mean, oh, I'll start tomorrow because I'm starting small. Like, I mean, if it helps, yeah, just jump right into the carnivore diet. That's what I did. I did it cold turkey, and it was the best, one of the best decisions I've ever made. You eat a lot of meat. I eat chicken sausage, and lamb chops. Well, that's definitely not a bad thing, but it can be bad. So, from what you told me, you're trying to lose weight, right? And how did you get that weight in the first place? So it can be. So meat's very good for you, right? But combining meat with carbohydrates, for example, if you eat chicken and rice, or if you eat lamb chops and rice, your body, there's a very, very complicated process that I don't even fully understand called the Randle cycle. And you basically don't want the Randle cycle activated, but the Randle cycle gets activated whenever you eat significant portions of fat and carbohydrates at the same time. So lamb chops, which are generally a fatty meat, plus carbs in the form of rice, it's just generally it's generally a well, what's the word? It's generally not a good thing. It's going to lead to failure. It's going to lead to weight gain in the form of fat, just because of how it works. I don't exactly know why. I got the weight from playing Fortnite and not doing anything and eating KFC and junk food like McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, packed food, and soft drinks. Yeah, I mean, those foods are very hyper palatable. They taste really good, but salt, sugar, and fat. When those three when those three food components are combined, you've got a really tasty and a really unhealthy food. When you have just two, and usually, or most, 100% of the time, it's never carbs and fat, but salt and sugar. So a low fat diet, or salt and fat, a low carb diet, then you lose weight because of the Randle cycle. However, a low fat diet, in 5 years or so, you're going to die because you need fats. Thank you. Thank you, W60. I appreciate that. Yeah. I wish I had a drum set here. But thank you for the compliment. I've got a drum pad right over here, but I don't have time to play it right now. But yeah, thanks for the compliment. I wish I had a drum set so I could play it on stream. But anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, junk food's really tasty, but it's horrible for you. But literally, like, you don't even have to exercise. I mean, it helps, but if you were to eat a carnivore diet, you'd lose weight. In the first day, you'd lose like 8 pounds, but it's all water weight because your glycogen stores are depleted at first, and then they're built back up once your body reaccustoms to the new energy source. But it works. Trust me. Just look up. All right, Slicks Look up what a carnivore diet is. 8 pounds in kilograms is about, I would say, 17.6 pounds or so. But Slicks, before you go, just look up, like go to bed, but then wake up and look up carnivore diet. Or look up a YouTuber and doctor named Anthony Chaffee. And just follow his advice. That's what I did. That's what I'm doing. And it's helped me. I feel great. Yeah. But have a good night, man. I hope you get some good sleep. I know you got to wake up at 5, so hope tomorrow goes well for you. Okay, moving on. So, hypertrophy is the increase in the size of cells. It literally means in Greek to nourish, apparently. Hyper means more, and then trophy, I think, means nourishment. So more nourishment. Like, because then you have atrophy, atrophy, a meaning no. Oh, okay, I see. I'm sorry. Give me a second. I misread your question. 8 divided by 2.2. That's about 3.63 pounds. So 3.63 kilograms. Sorry. 8 pounds is about 3.63 kilograms. Yes, sorry about that. Yeah. That's what that means. All right. And then cardiac hypertrophy can be secondary to hyperthyroidism, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Good night, man. I hope you sleep well. Thanks for the encouragement. See you later. Valvular stenosis as well. So the doctor's name was Anthony Chaffee. Actually, he's in Australia. He lives in Australia. That's so cool. You might be able to meet him someday. But Anthony Chaffee. So let me see if I can. So Anthony, Anthony, and then Chaffee, Chaffee. Dr. Anthony Chaffee. Just look him up on YouTube, and he's a great doctor, great carnivore influencer. He's jacked. I wouldn't listen to a doctor that didn't look healthy. He looks very healthy. And he's like 45. So, all right, Slicks. Thanks for watching, man. See you later. Thanks for tuning in. So a normal heart, I won't, man. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you. A normal heart has a slightly more muscular left ventricle and a right ventricle that's not as muscular, but a hypertrophic heart has a very muscular left ventricle. Not good, not good. Seen in cats with hyperthyroidism, at least in the context of veterinary medicine. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I probably shouldn't show these pictures because they're copyrighted. But, oh my goodness. These are some, like this picture of a heart, the left ventricle is The lumen is so small, horrible, and the right ventricle is on the side, also super small. Crazy. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is seen in some cat breeds like Maine Coons, Ragdolls, and Sphinx cats, but it can happen in any cat breed. And then valvular stenosis is where the lumen gets more narrow, and so the resistance increases, and so afterload increases. So some cells easily and readily proliferate. Cells are called stable cells. Some cells can divide only if they need to, and those are called labile cells. And then some cells are terminally differentiated and cannot divide. Those are called permanent cells. So epithelial cells are masters in hyperplasia, so those are stable cells. Heart and brain cells are permanent cells. You can't make any more of those. Once you lose your heart or your brain cells, you can't get any more, except by a miracle from God. That's true. Goiter is an example of hyperplasia and hypertrophy. Thyroid gland hyperplasia and also hypertrophy. Atrophy, moving on to atrophy, that's a decrease in cell size or cell number. Cells are going to survive, so they're still living, they're still there, but they just have reduced function. And the tissue or organ is understood to have once been at a normal size. For example, muscle atrophy, which can happen due to disuse, denervation, a lack of nutrients, senility, just getting old and senile, and drugs. Drugs can also atrophy your muscles. These pictures are very indicative of denervation. Laryngeal paralysis, denervation. But muscle atrophy in general is the main example of pathologic atrophy. I'm going to end this one here and see y'all in part 2.